Michelle here. I wanted to create you this video. It's all about my signature framework, the Scaling Success Ecosystem, which is my proven framework for successfully scaling your business to 7 figures with sanity and focus. I have an accompanying blog linked above, which goes into way more detail. If you know you prefer reading, go ahead and click that now. However, if you're a video person, stick around and watch this video. Okay, so let me tell you about the name. The Scaling Success Ecosystem came about because in ecosystem, there is no one single piece of this that is more important than the other. You can't have one without the other if you want to scale your business with success. The ecosystem covers 3 key areas: planning, processes and systems, and people. Let's take a quick look at the diagram. As you can see, there are 3 areas: planning, processes and systems, and people. And like I just mentioned, one does not function properly without the other 2. Together, they are an interconnected system. However, I fundamentally believe that when a business first starts to really implement this ecosystem stuff, with the view to scale, there should be a logical order or a focus. It would be a messy and overly complicated ecosystem if you tried to implement or focus on everything all at the same time. An ecosystem, by its definition, is a group of living organisms that interact with each other. So going along with that definition, these areas are never static. They are living, evolving, changing. So it is fair to say here that this ecosystem is not a straightforward process. It is something that needs to be revisited regularly and needs to evolve as the business scales and grows. The right plan now won't be the right plan next year, for example. Lastly, each area is the same size. They are balanced. There needs to be balance in any ecosystem for it to function properly. There cannot be a greater focus on one area over another. Hey, I'm back! Let me start by telling you that many aspects of this ecosystem will be things that you have heard before. I'm guessing if you're watching this, you're a typical entrepreneur or business owner. Looking at all of these aspects of your business simultaneously may feel a bit overwhelming. This is a normal and typical reaction. That's why I'm here. I promise to keep this simple and full to the brim with actionable steps to scale your business with sanity and focus. The bit I haven't touched on yet is the central nucleus. Let's cover that now. I believe that you need to have both a visionary and a pragmatist in the center of this ecosystem. Let's see which you identify with most. So, a visionary is a founder of a business, entrepreneurial and creative by their very nature. This means that they are able to generate tons of ideas and are often concerned predominantly with the big picture or vision. A visionary is a strategic thinker that gets fired up by turning their ideas into a future vision, but doesn't always clearly see the path towards that vision or want to be involved in the minutiae of implementing that plan. They have so many ideas that they may get distracted by the shiny stuff that doesn't fit with the business's focus. And they often aren't very good at managing people and holding people accountable. I love working with visionaries. The reason for this is because I'm a pragmatist. More on this now. A pragmatist is guided more by practical considerations than by ideals, able to foresee the detailed effects and implications of the visionary's big ideas, can interpret this into the day-to-day naturally, and they love to execute on a plan. A pragmatist can, however, be seen as a bit of a pessimist, especially by a visionary. They are confident at saying a firm no when the new idea doesn't fit the logical plan. So you can see how both of these are polar opposites, yet complementary forces. This is why they're central to my ecosystem. Together, they're a team, a duo. It is the magic of the visionary with their big vision alongside the pragmatist who can pull it all together where the magic really happens. Now I'm going to go into more detail on the 3 areas: planning, processes and systems, and people. Let's get started with planning. Okay, so planning. The reason I begin with this should be pretty self-explanatory. Most things begin with the planning stage, don't they? Without a plan, the other 2 areas will lack focus. A business needs a plan so it's clear what process and systems are needed, as well as what people are required and what things they should be doing. Any plan must be informed by the vision. It's at this point the visionary will be incredible at explaining that vision, truly bringing it to life. It's the pragmatist's role, however, to pull this out and begin laying it out into a coherent and achievable plan. Values also come into play here. Your values as a business should always be the filter that all your plans go through. If something doesn't fit on a moral or ethical level, it stays up in the filter. Otherwise, it makes it through and into the plan. All of this work has to always be framed inside the core focus of the business as a whole. This is the bit visionaries can often forget. Why does your business exist and who for? Trying to do everything for everyone is business suicide. You can't be all things to all people. In order to nail your core focus even more, ask yourself the question, what are we better at than anyone else in the world? I'm going to be going into way more detail in some future blogs all about planning. If you already know you're going to be interested in this, hit pause and click the button below that says, Give me the secrets. By clicking this button, you'll get all of my blogs direct to your inbox. Let's move on to processes and systems. Without processes and systems, it will be hard to bring your planning to fruition, and your people won't have the effective and efficient means to carry out that plan. Mapping out your processes gives both you and your team a great overview of what's happening day to day within your business, or what should be happening. This in turn makes it easier to achieve your goals. So although this part of the ecosystem is called processes and systems, systems are more like the software and IT systems you need in order to effectively automate your processes. I'll be going into this in way more detail in future blogs. So again, hit pause and click the button below that says, Give me the secrets. You need a comprehensive list of all the processes in all of your major business functions. I'm talking about marketing, sales, finance, and operations. And by operations, I mean, how do you deliver your product or service? Once you have your list of key business processes, it's time to map them out. I would highly recommend doing this step with those team members that are involved in those processes. They will have a much better grasp of what goes on day to day. And just like with planning, communicating your processes is key. Just having them written down somewhere is of no use to your team. Moving on to the final area of my ecosystem, people. Surrounding yourself with the right people is oftentimes the most difficult for the visionary business owner. It's at this point where you can clearly see how the rest of the ecosystem supports this. Let's take a look at this now. Clear job roles and responsibilities make finding the right team for where your business is on the scaling journey a lot easier and a lot less emotional. This takes a lot of methodical planning though, so you can see how this circles back. With the majority of clients I've had the privilege of working with, it is incredibly common that changing your team has to happen to help the business owner hit their scaling goals faster. It's often common that the team you've had in place to get where you are now are too reactive, and in order to scale, you need a proactive team in place, one that brings solutions and not problems. And this is where it feeds again into the processes part of the ecosystem. You need to have processes in place that support your team to be proactive. It's so important that your team understands all of the processes in your business, or certainly the ones that are relevant to them, as well as everything under the planning part. That includes your vision, your values, and all of the goals. This is a cyclical thing, not just a single onboarding event that happens when you make a new hire. The final piece of the people part of the ecosystem comes down to communication, communication, communication. A lot of visionaries struggle investing time in this area, but as soon as they see the outcome of a fully in-the-know team, they quickly find this to be a really fulfilling part of their leadership style. If you know that you want to build up your understanding of this over the next few months before making a firm decision to take the next step, make sure you hit the button that says, Give me the secrets below. This way, every time a new blog comes out, it gets delivered straight to your inbox. In addition to this, I share with you documentation of real-life scaling journeys. By subscribing, you can learn firsthand from their scaling experiences. If you just watched this and are ready to take the first step towards scaling your business with sanity and focus, then click the button below that says, Tell me about the audit. When you click this button, it'll take you to a page that explains way more about what it's like to work with me one-to-one on scaling your business. The first step with any of my clients is this Scaling Success audit. It's been fun sharing with you my ecosystem for scaling success. See you next time.